So first, probably as well, I'm really delighted to be here at the summit of BigchainDB. Many thanks to the team of BigchainDB. And I'm today really delighted to as well probably give you a short introduction to our project, Twin of Things, or Digital Twin. So first, probably a few words on Innogy. So Innogy is an energy company. Now you could have the answer, so why is an energy company engaging in blockchain technology or decentral technologies? And the answer to that is, besides the core business, so with regard to retail of energy, with regard to distribution of energy, and as well with regard to the renewables business we have as well an innovation hub where we elaborate on new business models. And one of them is a machine economy lighthouse. And what we are doing here, we are concentrating on decentral technologies. So we started that 3 years ago, where we digged into the topic of blockchain and decentral technologies. What we did there, so we are engaging with various startups and ventures across the world, so via our hubs in Silicon Valley or London or Berlin, and so on. So we are as well investing in companies. We are building as well our own POCs and projects. One of them I will show you. We as well did some first, probably brave steps with regard to really bring something to life with regard to real applications. So we have just a venture with regard to peer-to-peer energy trading. So this is more the idea to have trading energy from a solar panel in a close neighborhood. Then we have another project, Share and Charge, which is more about peer-to-peer energy charging for electrical vehicles. This is currently rolled out. And so why are we doing that? So because we think, with regard to the decentral ledger technologies, we will have a tremendous change in the value chain. So in former times, probably, so yesterday we had transactions more between people and companies, quite usual. And then we had this big system, so these intermediaries which interconnect between people and companies. What we see tomorrow, or probably we are one step in that we as well have where we have machines which probably get autonomous, and then we have communication or transactions between machines, which is quite new, which is as well strongly connected to the whole IoT development. You will have probably transactions between people and companies and as well machines. So, and this will have, in this sense, we do not think this will be orchestrated via a central system. The only way to do that is via decentral ones. If we look to that now, so this is more an abstract model of a machine. So why is a machine, or what happens when a machine gets independent? So what is quite clear, so for sure, as well currently or today, we have machines, they have sensors and actors. Yeah, so we have as well computing power in that. We have algorithms which somehow steer the machine. But what is new, if we bring technology like blockchain to that, then something really important happens. Because then this machine gets a unique ID. So we as well, in the speech before, we heard about the ID of people, so that we have the unique ID of a people. But as well, it's really important to understand if we apply blockchain technology to a machine, this machine gets really a machine identity, and with that, we can trust what, for example, this machine is delivering with regard to data. So we get data integrity or authenticity. As well, if we think about autonomous car in the futures, it's really important as well to have immutable data records so that we can really say, okay, last year at a certain stage, this data was really proven from that machine, and this is something like an audit trail. So quite important. One second. So now introducing our concept of digital twin. So from our perspective, this is probably quite an easy field to introduce blockchain technology as well to corporates and other people. Because the idea is a digital twin is a digital model of a real-life process, product, object, or whatever, which gets a unique immutable identity. And with that, digital twins are bridging the spheres between the physical and digital world. So you have here a physical object, and you have in a decentral database, for example, you have a data of that object. The data gathered by digital twins helps companies better to understand customer interaction, because if you think about, you have an object and can really store life cycle or lifetime information of that object in a decentral database which you can trust on. That's a quite new story. And for sure, this will drive business innovation. Okay, so it's not so complicated, so it's not really something that is mystic or whatever. So it's, from our perspective, quite easy. So what you need is, you need something like, we call it a tagging solution. So you have to give an ID somehow, you have to give an object somehow the ID. So probably via a crypto chip, using private public keys, probably with a secure QR code or whatever you can think of. So we are cooperating here with many companies or services. And then we say, okay, we need a real, secure, reliable storage in a decentral way. And we are doing this together with our friends from BigchainDB in the prototype we have built. And what is the outcome in the end? It's something that you have for an object. You have digital twin data, which is authentic, which has provenance information, where you can have proof of ownership. So am I, as a person, really belonging a certain object? And you could as well have topics lifecycle traceability. So, next. So how does it work in general? So it's complicated. From my perspective, not really. So in the end, you have to tag a car, a machine, probably some fashion goods, probably a container in the logistics area. And then what we are currently building as well together with BigchainDB is this digital twin platform, something like a middleware layer you could imagine, where we have certain APIs defined or currently developing. And then from the objects, data are coming via this middleware layer, and they are stored in BigchainDB. And as well, for interaction with people, you can think about dashboards, you can think about APIs to ERP systems or to mobile devices and so on. So not too complicated. More deeper view, so with which services we are currently doing our POCs, so our real-world examples. So we have done something with IPFS with regard to file storage. We are working with BigchainDB, as I already mentioned, for storing this data. We have done something with Yota with regard to give really an audit trail with regard to sensor data. We are working with Riddle and Code, which are as well here on the conference. We have Cryptowerk, a startup from the US, which is more in the field of hashing, and others. We are currently as well engaging to our prototypes with integrating payment solutions, but I come to that just in a minute. And from our perspective, this digital twin topic is really huge. Yeah? So you can apply it to nearly every vertical, to nearly every industry. Yeah, just so you can use it somehow in the area of IoT, Industry 4.0. You can use it in the product lifecycle management. You can use it for audit trails. You can use it for sure in logistics, for supply chain tracking. So if you just Google blockchain and logistics, often there are topics then coming up, or POCs, which you see, which are on audit trails, proof of provenance, and so on. In the end, so how does it look like from a more abstract view? Just as an example, traceability in the supply chain. So it's nothing more that you have different stages of a supply chain. You have your object at the beginning, and then you apply data step by step across the supply chain channels. So, and then you probably do that till end of the life cycle of an object. Okay, now two last real examples. So this is something we did. It's more for getting people a little bit more familiar with blockchain technology, and that it's not something which is too abstract. It's just what we have here. It's a combination of just a mobile app you can download with Android, and a combination with an NFC tag, just ordinary stuff in this sense. And what we have here, so you can then tag an object, that's the idea, with the NFC tag. You can apply a public-private key with the NFC, and via this public key, you can store then, in a decentral way, data with regard to that object. So that's running, and if we show it to people, probably the time is not enough here for within the speech. It's quite nice. Another example which we have done as well together with BMW and Volkswagen is our CarPass example. Here we worked as well with Yota and BigchainDB. And here the idea was just, so what we did here is just the idea to bring telemetry data in an immutable way to BigchainDB. And what we, as a quite easy use case, which everyone can understand right away, is you have mileage data of a car, capture that every minute, and bring this to decentral database, to BigchainDB. And then you have really the audit trail, and if you then want to resell a car, then you can say, okay, it's trusted because I have the audit trail now in our system. So what we are currently doing with that system in detail, so this is working. We are working on questions like, how can we set up permissions in such a system? So how can we have, in this sense, change of ownership? How can we have access rights with regard to reading something, writing something in such a system? And this has to be, in this sense, in a decentral manner. So it's quite, we have quite to do some work as well with BigchainDB together, who helps us with that, but it's a good step. And what we are as well doing in here is that we put as well a payment layer on that, so that we can have a showcase for scenarios like if you would say, okay, I would like a payment service, a decentral payment service for a car which is paid by mileage. So something like that. So real-world examples which we are working with. And the basic idea is that we build up with the digital twin project a layer, a middleware layer, which helps as well other people to use that layer and to set up decentral applications based on our idea. So that's it for the moment. And now I'm happy to get any questions from your side. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael, for this exciting explanation and for the collaboration so far.
Thanks as well.
We have time for one question for Michael, so there we are.
Thank you, Michael, for the presentation. At the beginning, was talking about the decentralization and the blockchain. And after that, you was talking about BigchainDB. Can you tell us what is the difference between the blockchain and BigchainDB?
From my example, from my opinion, so blockchain is a synonym for decentral technologies. Yeah, so you have many services which are in this sense in the space of decentral technologies. So take IPFS is as well in the area of blockchain. Take Yota is a similar service. Take Bitcoin, take Ethereum, and then in the stack with regard to decentral technologies, you have as well BigchainDB, as from my perspective, filling the gap with regard to where can we store decentral data. Where can we store data in this sense, not decentral data? Where can we store data in a decentral fashion? And this is currently done by the friends of BigchainDB, which is, from my perspective, quite an important step.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Michael.
Okay.